Okay, so today we're going to talk in detail a little bit about the Hybrid X Mini. This is another very popular broadhead in our series. This was formerly the Ultraviolet, and you can tell, of course, we named that because of the ferrule, and it is a very, very popular broadhead. One of the reasons it's so popular is because it's 1.5 inch cut, and it has a shorter, stockier ferrule than its predecessor, the Hybrid EXT. Now, the tip on the Hybrid X Mini is our EXT tip. So that is our steeper angle tip. You can see how it has a steep angle compared to the K2 Mini that has a wider angle. And what that also does is if you look at this blade angle here, as soon as you get to the base of the tip, you'll see that the blade slightly sweeps out. On the K2 Mini, this blade has a much more consistent angle. Other than that, all of the form and function of these two heads are identical, so it really boils down to personal preference. Originally, we developed this EXT tip thinking that that steeper angle would be a huge advantage for penetration, especially for low poundage shooters. But what we found after our testing was they're pretty much neck and neck in almost all of our testing. So again, I say personal preference because as far as penetration goes in our testing, there really hasn't been that great of a difference. Sometimes 1/4 inch, sometimes identical, sometimes 1/2 inch, depending on the medium, but it's really not significant. So as we get back to the Hybrid X Mini, some of the features here, it does contain our drive key technology. So when the drive key is forward, and we're 5/8, as the drive key is activated, the blades are opened, they are locked, and now we are 1.5 inch cut, and those blades are locked in place. They're not going to move until that drive key comes forward again, and then you can gently seat the blades on the O-ring. Our O-ring rides on the back of the ferrule, which is very important. This we developed because as we tested over the ring bands or collars or anything that the blade had to cut or tear through, we found it was a huge loss of energy. So one of the reasons that this started off being so popular, all of the Afflictor line for low poundage users, was because we retained that energy for penetration. And this is no different here. So as the drive key is activated, the blades roll out. The O-ring doesn't move and it doesn't get cut. We just roll out from underneath it. And after you shoot this into an animal, the O-ring is just going to roll up your arrow shaft. It almost always will be found somewhere on the arrow shaft. Now, when you practice, we have a lock pin that goes in the center of the ferrule right here, so these blades stay locked so you can practice. The tip is still oversized on the EXT, so the blades are protected for you to practice. But when you do have that pin inserted, I recommend that you take this O-ring and just take it off because it's not necessary at that point. And what happens is the friction in the target from rubber or plastic against this O-ring will prematurely wear it out and actually break it because it's creating heat and friction over and over again as you practice. So feel free to go ahead and remove that O-ring for practice if you like, or there's spare O-rings in your package, you can just replace it if it does break. But in a hunting situation, you will rarely, if ever, break this O-ring. So as you slide out again, we're fully deployed, we're locked, we're 1.5 inch. These blades are not going to go back down until the drive key is moved forward. The shorter ferrule design here adds strength. This is real popular for our elk guys, our guys out west, Africa or Alaska. They like that 1.5 inch cut for better penetration, but they also like this shorter ferrule design. This is 7075 T6 aluminum, and that really aids to its popularity for strength and durability. Now, this broadhead is available in 100, 125, 150, and 175. But when we hit the 150 grain, we are at a stainless steel ferrule. So this is 420 stainless, the entire broadhead. Super tough, super durable. So for you guys that are wanting, to bump up your FOC, get into something bigger and better on the front end, add a little bit more weight, this is a good option for you just to add that weight by your broadhead. Now the 125 grain models and the 175 grain models use our tungsten collar system. So we add our weight just by adding a 25 grain collar to change that weight. So if you ordered those heavier weights, you could back it off 25 if you wanted to, just for messing around or practice or see how your bow responded just by removing that collar. So again, gives you a variability of different options. The blade thickness on these is 32 thousandths, and it's been very thick and durable number for us. The blades are super tough. Rarely will you ever break a blade unless there's downward pressure, like in a joint or after a pass through you hit a rock. You know, most of the time rocks are pretty tough on broadhead blades, and ours are no exception. They are super sharp. Now on our tip design here, and it doesn't matter if you're looking at the K2 Mini or the Hybrid X Mini, you'll see that our blades are shaving sharp. They're razor sharp, but our tip is not shaving sharp, and that is by design. So make sure you never sharpen this tip. That tip is a special angle for penetration and durability, and sharpening it will actually impede penetration. And if you have any questions on that or the Hybrid X Mini at any time, just go ahead and get online. You can find this at afflictorbroadheads.com. You can also order there, ask questions, or you can drop a question in the comments below. So we thank you for tuning in. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll be back with another video soon. Thanks.